Welcome to Like Pigs in Space, an arts and culture podcast. I'm Aaron Mason.
And I'm Max Mason.
And this week was an interesting weekend because it was Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And instead of having Easter weekend, we decided to drive to Flagstaff and then, from Tucson to Flagstaff to Mesa to Flagstaff to Tucson.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's so 2 weeks in a row we've been in Phoenix. Last week we did for Veronica's birthday.
Oh, okay.
We went around and she got to go hang out with Kelly.
Oh, fun.
From when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Her old friend from Tempe, and we went and had lunch with Corrine, and Josie and Abe came up and did some, just hung out, did some stuff.
Yeah.
But the other thing we did is we dropped Veronica off, and then we drove over to Mesa, and I went and visited my mom, and she looks like a corpse, and I shared the picture with you, and it was it's sad and it's kind of miserable, but we kind of realized it's getting towards the end. So my brother Lee sent out and that it's kind of, if you want to see her, you should come see her.
Yeah.
And so Quinn was already going to go up. He goes, "Oh, I'm going up this weekend," and
they still live in Tucson, or?
Yeah, they still live in Tucson too. So, and so we talked to Lon, and Lon's like, "I don't know if we have a car that can make it." And right now, and Amelia was at a library conference in Minneapolis.
Oh,
and so she works for the library, and so she wasn't going to be in until late Saturday, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway. So we just said, "Hey, you know what? I think it's important, and I don't have anything to do this weekend. So, what if we came and got you?"
Yeah.
And so that was fun. But we took the long way up to Flagstaff. We went up through Globe.
Oh,
and then, yeah.
Right.
And then we went to Pine Top Lakeside because we've been thinking about looking there for maybe buying a cabin someday.
Oh, yeah.
And so we wanted to see if it was, because Abe spent a lot of time up there when he was missionarying.
Okay.
And he loves it there, and they have friends and stuff.
Yeah.
So we wanted to see it and just kind of see. And when you first get the sign that says Pine Top Lakeside, we usually go on what the vibe of the place is.
Right.
And when we drove, the first sign you see, all of that looks new and kind of boring, but that's new. And so we drove all the way into Pine Top Lakeside, and all of a sudden it started getting very hippie and
cool.
New age and stuff. And so I was like, "Oh, okay, I think we could like this." And then we went thrifting, and at the Goodwill of all places, usually Goodwill is like, meh.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive or it's picked over.
Right.
We, after the discount, the 20% discount, we still spent $90 and we just found a ton of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And, but we thrifted in Globe, and we thrifted in Pine Top Lakeside, and we thrifted in Mesa and Scottsdale the next day. And and when we dropped Lon off in Flagstaff, there was a vintage antique store right close to his trailer park. It was awesome. And
nice.
We were forcing ourselves to leave, but it was it was pretty great. I don't think we got, but I found a little nice old cast iron at the Goodwill that was
cool.
Yeah, like $8, which is nothing.
Oh yeah.
And then found another one of the same brand at the vintage shop, and that one was like the 25 or something. Yeah, it
Okay.
was 25, but then it was 10% off, so that was a deal. And then
Nice.
so in the end we got a really good deal of the two together, but they're smaller ones.
Cool.
Yeah, and so that was fun, but also all of the siblings were there on a Sunday morning, and we
Nice.
all got to see her, and she was, I think, pretty sure that since last Saturday she's had a stroke
Oh.
because half
Wow.
of her face is all constricted
Uh-huh.
and like a permanent half smile. But we were planning. I didn't know what day Quinn was going to be there, and he said, "Oh, we were planning to be there Sunday morning."
Mhm.
And so I said, "Hey, let's listen to what the universe is telling us, and let's all be there." So we were all there,
Nice.
and that was nice. And we had a nice little lunch brunch that Lee and Jenny put on, and then we drove. But it was good.
Good.
It was good to do that. But Lon hadn't. He's gone through a lot in the last little while, just kind of, figuring out how to be who he is,
Mhm.
and which is good. And, it's like, I am autistic. I'm like, yeah, we know. But, but he had to
Yeah.
come to terms with it and figure out how to manage and in all the different ways.
Right.
And also come to terms with relationships with my mom and my dad and all that, and just like all of us have, and so it was good to
Right.
talk to him and discuss all the things. And
Yeah.
he's been up in Flagstaff and hasn't had family around as much, and so it's he's had to do a lot on his own and has done well, but it was good to have that time and act like brothers, and
Yeah. Yeah.
But the tie-in is that on the way home, I was like, "Hey, can we listen to one of our podcasts? One of this
Mhm.
podcast?" Because
Listening with Lon or
yeah, listening with your mom and Lon were in the car, and your mom hasn't listened to any of these. She lets them
okay.
play. Yeah, no, she's just like whatever. She lets them play so we get listens, but
Yeah. Put him on a
but
loop.
yeah, she puts them on, but she doesn't. She's like, I don't want to listen to it. So this is probably the first one she's listened to, and it was the one about the space between us, or this thing between us. What's it called?
This thing between us.
This thing between us.
Yeah.
And I of course picked that one on purpose,
Right.
because I wanted Lon to hear the questions that you asked, and then it was the right one to play, right, for the situation.
Yeah.
And it did inspire some good comments from Lon, because I talked about how when we're driving around and I look at geography or geology, I'm like, "Oh, Dad,"
Mm-hmm.
and
Does he feel like that at all, or?
yes, yeah, that was the comment. He's like, "Yeah, I do that too." And I think this time listening through was the got me. Actually, I got emotional listening this time. Not tons, but more than I did doing it or listening through the first time.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of fun, and I know the situation lent to that. But also, it got a reaction from your mom in that she's upset with you because you're not doing more stuff because the questions were so good.
Oh.
So she's like, he's a smart kid. Why he could do anything? Just go do something. So she's just she just wants you to. I mean, she just could see all the potential, and so I think I mean, you're not dead yet, and you're not even that old, so you
Yeah.
have a future, but I think there's a real future of doing more stuff. And
Yeah.
but she was really impressed with your questions and all of that. So
Yeah.
that was neat. I thought you'd appreciate knowing about the comments and the,
Yeah.
but you did. I still think that that was a spectacular whole setup that you did on that. So
Yeah. I think
uh,
I think it was good timing too. How I mean, I was able to record it in Spokane while we were at
right,
the funeral for Chloe's grandpa and
yeah,
or celebration of life, because whatever it was, we were there for that. Um,
yes,
whatever they want to call it. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that it is something that can be helpful and still
right,
impactful.
yeah,
I think that is kind of where I can be more thoughtful. I'm not very good at being super thoughtful right off the cuff.
oh
It takes I
yeah,
worked on those questions for a while,
yeah,
even though they're
gotcha.
not like the most in-depth questions. I want to make sure I ask them the right way.
I think, and we've talked about this not during that one, but I think after that,
Mhm.
because I did listen to again the Malcolm Gladwell talking about how to be an interviewer.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
the even without knowing, you hadn't listened to that, you hadn't really studied it out.
right.
You asked the question like it's a turn of the screw, right? You
Mhm.
turn the you could ask the same question many different ways, but you turned it just enough to make it, and I hesitate to say force, but force the person answering to have to give a thoughtful answer
Right.
instead of just a pat answer, because
Yeah.
the way you crafted the question, and that's the important thing, is to be able to view it in a way, or ask it in a way that inspires some different response.
Yeah.
So,
I saw a really good video of that recently. It was some guy who was interviewing Michael Keaton,
oh yeah,
because I think he just put a book out, like a memoir or something.
okay,
And the interviewer was wanting to ask about like his estrangement from his daughter, and Michael Keaton was just, no, I'm not going to talk about my personal life in this. And he's like, well, the reason I want to ask is because when I read it, it affected me based on my chosen estrangement from my own father, and he was able to like give some personal feelings about it,
right,
and without even asking the question, it just got Michael Keaton to like basically answer his question without asking it.
right, exactly. And that's that. As you do that, you start to realize who is good at interviewing and who isn't,
Yeah.
and how they can dwell on a particular. They can get a particular question and jump on it, uh, or jump on an answer and take off in an unplanned direction, but they're skilled enough to be able to do that. So that's a neat
Yeah.
thing. That's a good skill.
Yeah.
And I appreciate when people, because that means you're listening too.
Hmm.
And you're listening in a it's I make a very, very conscious effort ever since it's been pointed out to me to listen without thinking about the question I'm going to ask.
Mm. Yeah.
So if I'm always thinking I want to get these questions answered, then I'm not listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's and that's active listening. When you're actively
Right.
listening, you're not thinking about your agenda or your questions. So that's what I've learned in whatever professional trainings or whatever I've gone through, has told me about that. So I
Hmm.
try and do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the visit, right? And so
Yeah.
that was good. And so I told you, I think last week when we were talking, I told you about some more obscure stuff because,
Mm.
now that we're showing up as, or I've brought you some of the most obscure items. So I try and keep it going, but things that
Yeah.
I'd found when I'm when I was a kid, and I found this one when I was in high school. It's a piece of literature,
Okay.
and it's kind of interesting, and it actually has some more to it than I expected because I thought it was a one-off.
Oh.
Like the author, I thought this is all they'd ever done,
Hmm.
and I was very wrong. In a very weird way. So
Okay.
it's very, very odd what else they've written. It was
Hmm.
completely and utterly unexpected. So, but to lead up to it, do you remember ever being read the adventures or anything of Mrs. Pigglewiggle? Do you ever remember those books?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'll briefly talk about them because it kind of leads to what this is in a
Let me
way.
see.
They're little stories, and so Mrs. Pigglewiggle is this old lady who lives in an upside down house
Okay.
because she always wanted one and her husband built it for her.
Hmm.
And but all the furniture is right side up, but the house is like, the
Point.
upside down.
Yeah.
So which is cool. And she's nice, and all the children like her because she cooks and everything. But all the parents like her because she's the lady that the parents go to for advice when they have kids that are misbehaving.
Hmm. Okay.
And so, like the first book, and I didn't realize how old these were. I thought these were from my childhood, but they're not. The first book came out in 1947.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they got re-released in the 80s,
Okay.
and so that's when we were reading them. When I was growing up, my mom would, and she could have grown up with these. These are actually predate her too. So that's
Yeah.
probably what it was, is that she had read these as a kid, and then they reissued them in paperback, and then we had them and we'd read them. I've read
Okay.
most of these, so. But the first book has things like they have different titles. So it's the kids, and then that's the problem.
Okay.
And so the first one is hates washing the dishes and hates making the bed. These two sisters, or these two girls.
Uh-huh.
And then there's won't pick up his toys, rudeness, refuses to share things, won't take baths, doesn't want to go to bed. And we always there was one called the talking backer. Is that the interrupting or talking back?
Yeah.
All those kind of things. So just normal kids misbehaving.
Yeah.
So the cures are funny, and some of them are kind of magical.
Okay.
So the won't pick up the toys. Let's see. Let's get this one, the rudeness one. This one girl she'd pull down her mouth and just be all get in her rude face and get going.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Pigglewiggle. Oh, it's the answer backer cure, is what it's called. She lends the parents Penelope the parrot, and
Okay.
Penelope the parrot is equally rude, giving her a taste of her own medicine. So it has this parrot that is rude before the girl can be rude, and is worse. And then there's the radish cure, which the person won't take baths. Yeah.
Okay.
And so they're left unbathed. So she's caked with dirt, then radishes are planted on her.
Cool.
And it's fun. There and so some of them are just like, oh yeah, that would work. I could use that in everyday life. But later on, it starts being she starts well, the first book is just Mrs. Pigglewiggle, but then it's Mrs. Pigglewiggle's magic, and then she starts doing potions.
Okay.
So she starts dealing drugs. I mean, dealing drugs.
Right.
So that gets a little weird. And then she has the farm, and so all the farm animals help cure the kids.
Hmm.
And then there's some more. So it's fun, and they're
Yeah.
nice, and they're fairly innocent. And so that was interesting. And so those predate. But then I found this book, and it's relatively short, and it is technically poetry.
Okay.
Uh, but I found it when I was in high school in Tucson, and I read it a lot. I think I just checked it
Yeah.
out because I don't remember still having it.
Okay.
But it's called The Terrible Tales of Happy Days School,
Hmm.
and it's by Lois Duncan.
Okay.
So I went to look this up and see what else she'd written. And so I'll just go, let's see if where I have this. I want to read a little bit about Lois Duncan
Okay.
because she's interesting, and she had quite a lengthy career. That was she was the daughter of a couple of professional photographers
Hmm.
who, for some reason, their big thing was they'd photograph the circus. So
Oh.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, which was kind of an interesting thing. She is a writer, novelist, poet, and journalist.
Hmm. Okay.
And she was best known for her young adult novels. And she's been credited by historians as a pioneering figure in development of young adult fiction, particularly in the genre of horror, thriller, and suspense.
Oh. Okay.
So if you go through her books, and it's kind of an interesting transition because she started her first book. She started submitting stories when she was 10,
Wow.
and was first published in a magazine when she was 13. Uh,
Crazy.
so yeah, sold her first story at the age of 13.
Wow.
And then at 15, she was photographed by her father somewhere and was on the cover of Collier's magazine, which was a magazine back then.
Okay.
So she was on the cover of the magazine in 1949. They were born in Philadelphia in
Hmm.
1934, but they moved to Sarasota, Florida early on,
Oh, okay.
which is close to where that's the circus is. The Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey,
Hmm.
their headquarters are in Florida, in that area of Florida.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably why they were there.
Yeah.
And she died. So she did pass away at 82 in Bradenton, Florida, which I think is where the circus actually was headquartered.
Okay.
For also what's funny is they were also the Monster Truck Jam and
Right.
the circus are the same company.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Funny.
I actually there was a job posting for to be the customs guy for the circus and for the
Monster truck.
the Monster Truck Jam. Yeah, and I did apply.
Yeah.
This was when we lived in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
It was
Okay.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we could maybe, that'd be interesting, importing elephants. So yeah, so that was
You import them in the monster trucks.
yeah, that
Get them past customs.
tigers driving trucks. Yeah, that'd be good. Or full on Coliseum battle between trucks and large animals. Yeah.
That's an employee only event.
It could be a pay-per-view. So she started early, and then her stories, her novels that she first got published in the 60s, or 58 through probably into the 60s. She did all these, like the first ones are just kind of cheesy love story teen girl books
Okay.
type stuff.
Yeah.
Like Love Song for Joyce, Debutante Hill. Those are the first novels, okay?
Hmm.
And then there's some mystery ones, and then she starts. I think she was married and got divorced in 1962.
Okay.
Then got remarried in 1965, and
Yeah.
then in what happened was she went to her friend of hers hired her to work for New Mexico, University of New Mexico,
Okay.
kind of on a whim because she didn't have a degree yet.
Hmm.
And but it was a friend of hers. So she was in New Mexico. She was working in their, in the, I don't know where I was reading about that, but her friend helped her get on at the university in the 70s. She got
Okay.
her degree finally in like 77. But I think being in New Mexico, working at the university,
Hmm.
and all of that kind of led to a change in
Mm.
what she was writing.
Okay.
And but she did still do some younger books too. So they are all teen books technically.
Okay.
But in 71, she wrote Hotel for Dogs, which is there's a movie
Hmm.
of that.
Yeah.
And which is, that's fun. It's nice kids, upbeat. So her stuff is divided into novels, nonfiction, picture and chapter books,
Hmm.
which technically is where this book lies, but it's more of a poetry book. And then
Okay.
poetry collections, which for some reason this isn't one of them, because this is a picture book.
Hmm.
It's illustrated.
Okay.
Each, each poem. So this has poems in this book, but they're each illustrated.
Okay. Yeah.
So the thing that surprised me is number one, she wrote 30 books
Wow.
and then also the
Yeah.
kids' books. So she's
Yeah.
got probably 50 publications. So she's not a one off.
Right.
And she wrote teen horror suspense.
Hmm.
So I'm pulling this up, and in 1973, and I was like, is this really what I'm reading? Is this really what the book is?
Yeah.
She wrote, I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Oh. Okay.
that the movie's based on.
Yeah.
For real. She wrote that.
Wow.
I was like, oh, weird.
Weird.
So I found this book because it's from
On a
80.
whim.
Yeah, it was just it's from 83.
Okay.
So well before the movie was made.
Mhm.
So there's that, I guess. But but it just was funny to me. It makes sense when I start explaining this book. Uh, Makes sense in the fact that she doesn't shy away from the macabre.
Interesting.
However, something happened, and just there's another publication of hers that's considered a nonfiction, and not really a creative title because you can guess what it's about, but it's called in 1992 published "Who Killed My Daughter."
Yeah.
Uh, so, which is basically in 1989, her youngest daughter, who was 18, when there was murdered in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Wow.
And so she released that, which was about her investigation into her daughter's death. And
Hmm.
she published one more kind of horror book after that and then never wrote another one again and just did
Hmm.
nice books, like kids' books and,
Yeah.
less difficult topics. So she passed away in 2016 and they didn't solve the murder or find the guy until 2021.
Wow.
Yeah. But they
Yeah.
did. They found the guy. And it ended up, he was also tied to two other murders around the same time.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there's several in that area that he was, that were pretty big deal. So just the research for this
Yeah.
was crazy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then there's a fall. Yeah. So it was, I don't know, just weird. Just weird
Yeah.
that, and that's why I was trying to think about another approach to this. And if I had more time, of what are stories or things that you've heard of that were written by somebody that you didn't expect them to be the writer of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most famous, or the biggest one for me, is Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
The fact that that's a Stephen King story is surprising if you haven't read a lot of his short stories. That one's very surprising to be his.
Yeah.
Because if you just know Stephen King as a horror writer, then it would be surprising. I'm sure there's tons that are unexpected. Kind of the reverse of the other side of that is, it's weird to think about all the different genres, and we've talked about before, of Neil Gaiman.
Right.
It's hard to, he's very, you can't pin him down either.
Yeah.
maybe the supernatural is probably the consistency, but he doesn't just write kids books or teen books or adult books. He writes everything.
Yeah.
And
have you heard of the group Capital Punishment?
No, but
they're really small group. I think they only put out the one album that it's like weird, really punky, but then also like really industrial, but then really like kind of soft indie rocky at points. It's a really weird album. The drummer for that was Ben Stiller.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I did know I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah.
That band, like a long time ago. He was a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, now that that's hilarious. Well,
it's such a weird album, and then
and he's
this
a weird
one
dude.
guy in it.
And that's we just as far as weird guys in bands, we just listened to a podcast about this guy who he's for they didn't make this connection, but essentially this guy was Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, funny.
Because he was a rock star. He was an astrophysicist. He was just didn't matter. He's super intelligent, and so he didn't just do science. He did anything he wanted to.
Right.
But he was in the band In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Oh.
Or sorry, Iron Butterfly.
Right. Yeah.
He was in the band Iron Butterfly, which was hilarious. And then he did all kinds of stuff. And then he disappeared, and it was weird and kind of all kinds of crazy circumstances. But that's why they were doing the podcast, because he did kind of what happened to him.
Right.
And then
that's
the other
like
one,
the Offspring guy.
Yes, exactly. And that came up when we were driving around, that he's, you'd never think, based on the lyrics and the music of Offspring, that the lead singer is a very, very, very intelligent and very well-respected scientist.
Yeah, right.
And he was like, all right. So it's fun when you see that kind of stuff that you just don't expect. You don't expect it.
Right.
And so it's well, and then, I mean, famously, who was it? It's funny how many movie stars from 40s and 50s were also spies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think like Jimmy Stewart was a spy. And then there's some very famous women, like female actors. There's one very famous one, I wish I could remember, but she was totally a spy. And she was just like super, like the most beautiful woman type thing. Like she was a star, huge star, and all, the pinup girl, everything. But she was also like super intelligent. And it was hid because she was also a spy.
Yeah. Was she a spy like before all that actress stuff, or?
It was part of it. It was like all at the same time.
Wow.
that's the funny thing because the war was on, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, Hedy Lamarr.
Hmm.
So she was actually much older. She was in, but she was yeah, but she was what was her thing? She was in lots of films, but then she was also she participated in War Bonds, Samson Live, producer, and okay.
Yeah, it's funny if
She
you like Google her, it's like all the quick facts stuff, and that has the people also asking like, well, the first one is like, what was her IQ?
right, right. Because she invented a bunch of stuff too. She had
Yeah.
patents for stuff, and so she was one of them that did all that kind of stuff, and it was just kind of interesting to out of nowhere was also an inventor, had patents, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So
Right.
anyway, so surprising changes and differences and all that. So I'm gonna get into this book, and I'll just
Okay.
read. I'll read the prologue, so it kind of
Okay.
sets it up. And this is another one. This should sit on your shelf next to Uncle Shelby's ABZs, just
Okay.
to give you an idea of the tone.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is this doesn't match. It does and it doesn't match what I would expect from. I know what you did last summer. Like it's
Right.
so odd. It's more maybe Tim Burton-ish.
Hmm.
It's really kooky in that way.
Yeah.
So it says on here, this is the prologue.
Okay.
At Happy Days Progressive School, there was one single standing rule that all the children going there be given gentle, loving care and never, ever forced to do a thing unless they wanted to. How happy all those students were. There wasn't one who did prefer the public school a block away where children had to work all day. The school stayed open just 1 year. Why it was closed was not made clear, but when that year came to its ending, the children simply weren't attending. How
Hmm.
strange, for all had words of praise for that fine school called Happy Days.
Huh.
And so the before that, it shows in the book it says list of former students of Happy Days School and list all of them. And so each of the poems that follow are the students that were there, and it's a
Oh.
poem about them. And
Okay.
there's not tons. There's about 10,
Hmm.
10 or 10 or 11 or something like that. I don't know, but
Okay.
I'll just go through the students' names and what happened to them.
Okay.
But the reason I brought up Mrs. Pigglewiggle is that all of hers were the kids behaving awful, and so there's a consequence
Uh-huh.
that is extreme. But in the Mrs. Pigglewiggle ones, they get cured.
Uh-huh.
In this one, I don't know that they survive.
Wow.
So it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Um, so there's Jane is the first one. So
Okay.
Jane is complaining about the cafeteria food. And
Hmm.
she's screaming, I can't eat this stuff. Throwing her food around and threw all the contents on the ground. And then the cafeteria says, hey, lady says, so for one, she threw everything on the floor and the principal came running and it says he stepped on the food and took a slide, his arms flung out, his legs spread wide. He plowed full speed into a wall, and then he did not move at all.
Whoa.
And then the cafeteria lady said, hey, if you don't want the milk, just put it back. And so Jane grabbed the cart and squeezed it and threw everything on the ground. And then it said that at the end it says, and then she jumped into the mess. Why she would do that, who can guess? And hit a greasy gravy trail. Her laughter turned into a well. She fell and landed on her fork. She should have left it in the pork.
Whoa. Wow.
So Jane got skewered. I
Yeah.
think Jane makes out the best of all of them, which is surprising.
Oh no.
So Melissa's the next one.
Okay.
And Melissa didn't want to clean the cage for her pets.
Mhm.
And so it describes more and more how gross it gets and how all the pets just want to be cleaned.
Mhm.
And so then one day she goes to look inside the cage and her brother Sam pinched her and she yelled and her feet flew up and says her feet flew up and in she fell. She landed in the molding litter and all the hamsters ran and bit her. The gerbils rushed to bite her too, and how those little things could chew.
Wow.
Uh, it says the child was such an awful mess, her mother had to burn her dress.
Wow.
So she learned her lesson.
Mhm.
But and the pictures are great. It's show 'em, she's like covered in hamsters and gerbils.
Wow.
And then it says, and what of Sam, who was her brother, right? He liked pinching people. That was his problem.
Yeah.
It shows he's pinching the girls and stuff. And so Sam stood behind to pinch his friends as they swung by on the swing set.
Mhm.
And then he says one day he pinched a boy named Art upon a man's most tender part. I think it's just but Art did not yell. He did not fall. He kicked out hard, and that was all. As he swung north, as he swung south, his foot struck Sammy in the mouth.
Wow.
Sam's teeth went spattering far and wide, except for 3 that stayed inside.
Wow.
So that's what happened to Sam.
Uh-huh.
So what about Art? Art's hobby was collecting things like other people's diamond rings.
Mhm.
So it just talks about how Art is a klepto, basically.
Yeah.
So his collection grew and grew, and his parents are. It says, what does it say about his parents? That they were. It says his teachers never once suspected, and then it says his parents were not very smart.
Okay.
They didn't think to question Art about all the stuff, but it says until the day he stole the sockets from floor lamps in a hotel lobby, that was the end of Artie's hobby. As sparks flew high and fuses blew, it was the end of Artie too. So he tried to steal some sockets and got electrocuted.
Wow.
It's funny. The picture shows him as just uh, as if he was made of electricity, like
Mm.
just a,
Yeah.
and then his parents are below him looking at his pile of junk. So that's funny. So he turns into a electric thing.
Yeah.
Then we come to Belinda.
Belinda.
Belinda's hobby was to chew,
Okay.
but she didn't like gum. She liked harder stuff like books and balls and string and anything made out of wood. And
Okay.
so one day when she was studying, she was biting her nails and got so lost in what she was doing, she didn't realize that she'd gnawed down and eaten her fingertips.
Whoa.
And Belinda thought, now that's weird. I wonder why that knuckle bone is sticking up there all alone. It says, so to regrow fingertips is rare, so now Belinda chews her hair. So
Weird.
that was bad.
Reminds me of the Adventure Zone episode where everything gets glitched out.
Yeah.
And it's because they get a video of like some girl eating her hair.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good picture too. It shows a little like pet rat on the floor with a bite out of its back. Maybe it's a
Wow.
stuffed animal, but still.
Yeah. Sounds like could go either way.
Yeah, exactly. Then we come to Dan,
Okay.
and it says, at Happy Days, the smartest child was one who drove his parents wild. His name was Dan. He knew a lot. The information that he got was from the things he overheard.
Yeah.
So Dan liked to eavesdrop, and it just talks about all the things he'd hide and listen to people's secrets. And so then one day, he decided he'd snoop on his aunt, and so he got under under the sofa to listen to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it says his auntie's rear was huge and fat. The sofa caved beneath its weight, and Dan was squished flat as a plate.
Wow.
So, yeah, it shows a picture. I mean, it's super thin. And then this kind of pays homage to the radish cure,
Okay.
kinda. Imagine the radish cure if it went further. This is Jerome, and Jerome disliked to wash his face or really any other place. It says there was deposits in his ears that had been rotting there for years. He's crusty and disgusting, nothing sweet about his feet, etc., etc., etc. And so one morning in the early spring, Jerome observed a funny thing. Between his toes were tiny shoots, which overnight had put down roots. And so there's a little farm sprouting up. And he said, I'd rather wash than plow, and climbed into the nearest shower. But it says the dirt washed off in half an hour, but since the grime adhered like glue, the skin beneath it came off too. And it's hard to keep your insides in when you're left without your skin.
Yeah.
So with an anguished shriek of pain, all of Jerome went down the drain.
Wow.
So there's the radish cure, but much more morbid.
Yeah.
And then here's another one that kind of is Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy liked to tease the dog on her way to school. And it says at the end, the dog could nod its rope into a thing she thought it could not do. It's by the time she had the sense to turn and run, it leapt the fence and chewed her till she came apart and ate her liver and her heart.
Jeez.
So that was a little dark.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Hugh. Hugh liked to lie. He did it well. And so this is kind of like the little boy that cried wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told all these stories and stuff. And then one day he got grabbed by a kidnapper because he was bragging that his parents were millionaires. And so he kidnapped him, and he said, "You'll have to pay." And so he sent a ransom, and his parents go, "Oh, that Hugh, he know we know his tales are never true." And so they threw the letter in the trash and never sent a bit of cash, and they've not seen him again. So
Wow.
yeah, so he paid the consequence for his lies. And then here's another. There's a Mary Lou.
Okay.
This is when Mary Lou. This reminds me of some people I know. Anyway, I won't say more than that. But when Mary Lou began to eat, her family had a special treat. They got to watch her slurp and slop and dribble on the tabletop. And it just talks about how she eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. And then that she's going to keep eating. It says she threw wide her mouth and down they went. There's just all the food. And then one tragic evening while she ate, her jawbone snapped beneath the weight of 7 quarts of Irish stew. So no dessert for Mary Lou.
Wow.
So she was pushing it. And then the last one is James, which is funny because at Happy Days, a boy named James was really into video games. And so whenever it was lunchtime or whatever, he'd run across to the Jolly Times arcade and just play. It says, it's funny because you can tell when it was written. It says he'd sit there and play the games. He started out with little frogs that hopped across the stream on logs.
Yeah.
And so he didn't find that too inspiring. So he moved to missile firing and then went to searching for a place where he could slaughter men from space. And then he found a flight of stairs, and that went down. And he kept playing bigger and bigger games.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it says monster appeared, but there was too much noise, so he didn't notice it. And so the game, it says the game machines made so much noise that no one heard his screaming noise, and no one heard the painful crunch as Pac-Man had an early lunch. So,
Nice.
um, so basically, the epilogue is the year was done, school was dismissed, the principal's attendance list was oddly blank. He scratched his head. This is so very strange, he said. Our students seem to have such fun, and yet we've lost them one by one.
Hmm.
The registration forms were piled upon his desk, but not a child had signed up for the coming year. Well, happy days must close, I fear. He told the teachers with a sigh, it is enough to make one cry. I simply cannot understand the failure of a school so grand. And so he locked the door, and no one goes there anymore. And I feel like that there's been a few things I've seen where it seemed, I wonder if the principal is actually uh, a devil figure,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Is because I've seen a few things where, oh, everything's wonderful, this person's making your dreams come true, but basically this whole school and those kind of stories are giving the horrible people enough rope to hang themselves with.
Yeah.
you know and that's what it seems like. It's a very interesting morality tale, the whole book.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I loved it when I read it because I
Yeah.
it's horrible. But
Right.
I've seen a few others like this too, that
Hmm.
that I'm trying to remember. I wish I had better examples. I should have thought through this a little bit more, but I've seen a number of things where the person that looks like they're being helpful or making people's dreams come true is really giving them enough choices to make it so they uh, are in his clutches.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
I was thinking of two things while you're reading through it. The first one is it kind of sounds like she read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
yeah,
and was like
yeah,
I could kill kids too.
yeah. Which, given the timing of the book, I mean, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie was in the late 70s and
Hmm.
or so, mid to late 70s. So, that would have been probably, yeah, it is. It's that dramatic consequence. Nobody died in the Willy Wonka one, but
Right.
they should have,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Uh, but
Close
yeah,
enough.
yeah. They were changed. They were
Yeah.
transformed. So yeah, isn't that funny? It is really kind of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing is I haven't played this game, haven't seen too much about it, but it's the Danganronpa,
okay,
Ronpa, where it's like all these like elite students are brought to this like new elite high school, but they end up
right.
kind of being forced to kill each other
No, okay,
they're with this like there's like a principal figure, but he's like a game show host, and he's
right.
a little bear too.
Oh,
So
it's with less consequences, but similar to Digital Circus. Have you seen that?
I haven't. I've
It's
heard a little bit about it.
people get sucked into this video game,
Mhm.
and they're forced to go on these adventures by the ringmaster, I think,
Mhm.
whatever's, and they can die in the game,
Yeah.
but then they just get regenerated. But
Yeah.
but then there is a point at which they can truly disappear and
Mhm.
really really die. So that's kind of it's dark in that way. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I think about this one with the high school. Like each of the students is like the best at their school for something.
yeah,
So it's kind of like that one where each student had a thing. Each of these is like the smartest or like the best athlete or
right,
most popular or whatever it was.
yeah.
So they all kind of have a thing.
These are so. This also reminds me of kind of, and there's again a couple movies, but kind of like the Knives Out
Hmm.
or the Clue movie. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
you've seen that. And there's another one called but where all these people are invited to this, that's what Clue is, and there's another one that is a movie before Clue that's just like it, where they're invited to a castle,
Hmm.
and it seems like they're random, but they all have done something,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
they're probably going to pay the price for it. And same with like there's an Agatha Christie one called and Then There Were None, or it used to be called, it can be called 10 Little Indians, but it's also called And Then There Were None.
Mm.
And they're all invited to this island, and
Mm.
slowly they get killed off. So
Yeah.
this all of that, these morality mystery kind of, they're there, they think it's random, they chose to be there, but
Mm.
they're there, they were made to be there, they just didn't know it. So
Right. I think that's the
that's,
same idea behind like the Saw movies.
yeah,
Each of
yeah.
the traps is based on, or that like
What?
Seven movie
Yeah,
where it's each of the things is a
right. It's
sin.
deadly
You know.
sin. Yeah, it's fun, and those, I can understand why people enjoy those, because you see people that are horrible getting their comeuppance, and
Yeah.
you know, you feel justified, especially when you see a lot of people who are horrible not get their comeuppance in the real world. You just kind of wish for people to uh, get taken out. I did just
Right.
watch, while I was on the airplane, I watched the new version of The Running Man. I don't
Okay.
know if so. I think
I
that one is also a Stephen King
think so.
based.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
familiar. Sounds familiar in that
it's a
way.
game show where
Oh.
you have
Oh. Okay.
to, yeah, but you have to
Or
survive.
was it the Running Man, or like was it that, or like the longest long walk or something?
Well, that's the new that, yeah, but that's a different thing.
That's okay.
That's the kids walking. No, Running Man was, I think Sylvester Stallone was in it way
Okay.
back, um, or Schwarzenegger, one of them. But the new version is, it's funny because there's three people that get picked, and you have to last like 30 days and not get
Mm.
killed. And so
Yeah.
the guy is doing okay, but the first guy is the tall redhead guy from Saturday Night Live that used to do Please Don't Destroy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's in it, and he's like,
Oh.
"Yeah, I'm gonna do this," and he gets in there, and he's like, walks out, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in this game," and bap, like within like 24 hours, he's got a bullet in his head.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, that one's funny. It was interesting that I found this. I thought it was like, this person can't possibly publish other books because this is so dark and twisted.
Hmm.
And then I go and research it. I'm like, well, yeah, they are, but that was what they were known for. And she seems very nice. Like, she writes these nice books too, and
Yeah.
like Hotel for Dogs,
Right.
and there's like
Yeah.
three books in that series.
It's kind of like how Jordan Peele had Key and Peele, but then he's also done these like fantastic horror movies.
Right, right, right. Which do have some humor in them, but
Yeah.
have you watched any of them?
I've seen Get Out. I want to see Nope, but I haven't
Nope
gotten around to it yet.
is the best.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's the one you should see. That one's the one where they all have doppelgangers.
That you.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's
Or
just, that one's messed up.
yeah.
But no, I love him. He's really good.
Yeah.
But Nope is truly hilariously great and messed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I mention I did watch I watched The Thing? Did I tell you about that?
No.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great. What's amazing is it pays off really quick. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about, I hate to say, spoiler alert, because it's a 50-year-old movie, but
Yeah.
but it's an alien movie.
Right.
horror movie. So, but you see the alien really quick in the movie. Like there's not a lot of suspense about it. You see it right away. And they all know it's there. And so the suspense is in the fact that everybody knows there's an alien that can change into stuff and they don't know who it is now. And they don't leave you in suspense for long about, oh, do they find out? Because there are movies like that, right?
Yeah.
But it begins with just this helicopter chasing down this wolf or the husky that's running across they're in Antarctica. It's running across the tundra and they're trying to shoot at this husky. And there's no explanation. You're like, what's going on? It's just crazy. And then, just all kinds of crazy stuff happens just in the first 5 minutes. And you're like, what is going on? And then there's a big question about who's the alien at the end, or is anybody the alien at the end? And not. So anyway, but it's really, really, really fascinating. And it does so much in a short period of time. So
I know that's one that Chloe's wanted to see. Like, we'll have to watch it sometime. But.
You can't, if you can rent it on YouTube or whatever it is, it's worth watching because and the special effects are all practical and they're gross and great, but it's not like not a lot of jump scares, not too much suspense, just enough. The funny part is when they go to see the alien ship at the other place, and it suffers because of the quality of our film, of our TVs now, because it's just a painting of this landscape with a spaceship in it. You can tell it's painted, but they're walking up to it like this big, and then it's painted. And you're like, I bet that looked good back then.
Yeah,
but it looks like crap now.
Right.
So it's always funny to watch stuff in 4K that really should never be in 4K. So anyway, so there we go. I brought in horror movies too, and well, thanks for the journey. It was brought in a lot of different things because it was an interesting week. So I just wanted to share all that with you, and but still bring in some literature, such as it is,
right?
Some horrible literature.
Well, thank you. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Is this going to be another one where we top the list of searches?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm just going to go for a streak, man. Every obscure thing I could think of, but
what stuff nobody is talking about.
Yeah, that's going to be that's good subtitle, arts and culture that nobody's talking about.
Yeah. Lost arts and culture.
Oh yeah, there you go. Lost culture. There you go. Lost culture is good. But good. But thanks for listening. You've been listening to Like Pigs in Space, an arts and culture podcast. I'm Aaron Mason.
And I'm Max Mason.
And we really appreciate you listening. Have a great week.
See ya.